Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
Welcome, everybody. Better on Draft, the Michigan Series, episode number 18. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We got a great guest who's been on an affiliate podcast of Better on Draft probably 40 or 50 times, even though they only have 30 episodes. And we're excited to bring him in, but let's real quick bring in the current hosts that will be on the show tonight. Dan, how you doing? What are you drinking?
I'm doing good. I'm holding down the part-time duties here for you. I'm double fisting. I got a Great Divide Yeti going on there since everyone seems to be going to Denver lately. Now I've got a Modern Times Black House.
Yep, Wendy is actually in Denver right now, so she won't be on the show. She was supposed to be at the WeldWorks Invitational, but that got canceled. But I know the great folks who we got a chance to interview at WeldWorks is taking good care of her over there. Danny, what do you got?
I have a growler of the New England IPA from Tenacity in Detroit.
Ah, yes, Tenacity Craft. Have you had their whiskey yet? Did you try any of their booze while you were there?
I have not had any of the whiskey because I don't drink whiskey, but it's so cool looking. I will probably have to.
Whiskey's cool looking?
The whole, their barrel system thing.
Oh.
The whole setup is really good. If you guys don't get a chance, definitely check out episode 183. That was our episode with Rob over at Tenacity Brewing. He actually distilled a bunch of beers as they were working out their distillation program, and we got a chance to have it, including a cider that they turned into an apple brandy. Oh my God, so good. That stuff is very, very high octane though, so be very careful. Me, on the other hand, not to disappoint Dan, because I know Dan thought we were going to win that Lions game. I am still staying sober.
Damn close.
Got my Groovy Stout, 0% alcohol, 100% beer. So this is definitely
0% beer.
Yeah, 0%. I mean, it's not alcoholic beer. It's still beer, at least. I'm assuming it still has all the correct ingredients of beer.
Groovy is awesome.
Yeah, there we go. We got water, malt, maltodextrin, hops, and yeast. So I mean, mostly beer.
Actually, that's a good one, and I think Athletic makes a good stout too. Groovy and Athletic are doing an awesome job with those for sure.
I do have two Athletic beers, none of the stouts, but we'll be drinking those later. I got the Oktoberfest and the Cerveza Athletica. That Cerveza Athletica is probably one of my favorite beers, period. Non-alcoholic and alcoholic. But let's. You heard the voice. Bring in our guest from Five Shores. That's Matt. Matt, how you doing today? And what are you drinking?
All right, so I'm drinking a very, very nice Czech Pils from my friends over at Batch right now. I had a meeting downtown Detroit today, was down there and stopped over and saw Steven, the crew, Kim, their brewer, Kim Schneider, one of the few female head brewers in the state. And if you haven't drank Batch beer recently, Kim's been over there, head brewer, for about 3 years. The beer is fantastic. I mean, I judge lightest beer first, and when a Czech Pils, when I have 2 or 3, I'm like, I would like another one of those. Anytime I have a beer, if I want another of that one, that's a good beer. So Batch is what I'm drinking tonight.
Batch is a great brewery. I love, and Kim, who also made their alt beer, really, really good. That Fest beer is a great alternative because you cannot get the alt beer all the time there. So why don't you explain who you are and what brewery you work for, own, what you do there?
Yeah, absolutely. So Five Shores Brewing is sort of a passion project of two people. So I started brewing. I went to Northern Michigan. My name is Matt Demorest. I'm a co-founder of Five Shores. I went to Northern, 2004 graduate of Northern Michigan. There's a bunch of Wildcats on here. I know everybody's cheering in the background. I mean, everybody loves NMU and Marquette, but I couldn't buy beer when I was 18. And to be frank, I probably tasted my first beer a long time before that. So I was like, what can I have that's good? And there wasn't much good beer. So I bought a homebrew kit, started brewing in my dorm room closet. Fast forward so we're Michigan State weekend right now. Okay. So there's probably Spartans, there's probably Wolverines. I'm going to say go blue, but I just also am not playing, and I'm not going to lose my mind over what happens. so we were at a Michigan State tailgate that I had running. Oliver came to my tailgate. We'd had mutual connections for years, but he'd been the head brewer at Wolverine for about a decade. And he said, my daughter lives up north. I want to be up near my daughter. I'm driving back and forth. And basically within a week, we had a business formed. And I said, don't quit brewing. Let's build a brewery together in northern Michigan. So Five Shores is 25 minutes west of Traverse City. Beautiful village called Beulah on Crystal Lake. So near Crystal Mountain Ski Resort. Beulah is sort of where M22 turns north right before Frankfurt. So M22 runs right by us. But that's who I am, a partner in that, a longtime brewer, a longtime beer fan. But also I just saw somebody that had multiple World Beer Cup and World Beer Fest and medals that I'm like, you can't stop brewing just to be near your daughter. Let's do both. Let's get you near your daughter because that's important, but let's make damn good beer in northern Michigan. So that's me.
Now, when you opened back in January 2020, the world was a lot different. And obviously, Beulah is a destination city. Danny, I'm hearing some feedback if you don't mind muting. Beulah, Traverse City, destination obviously for all of the people who travel in Michigan up north, especially during the summer and fall. How was it attempting your first tourist season last year, and what changed this year?
So I think one of the bigger things that's happened for us is last fall actually was fantastic because most kids were in school from home. And so anybody that had a reason to be up north last fall just spent the fall up north. And so we actually had kind of like a very extended summer, I would say, last fall. Right now, I mean, we're like, it's definitely hitting us a little bit slow, but what we expected was once the colors are gone and people don't have a reason to drive up north, and then the snow hits, like that couple months is going to be the 2 slow months of the year where we are right now. It didn't happen last year again, because people, if you're not able to go to your office, but you need internet, and your kids are not able to go to school, but you need internet, but you have a place to stay up north. People were just up north all fall last year. So we were, last year was great. I'm going to be frank that opening a brewery January 24th of 2020 was probably not like, ultimately, if you were to plan it out 6 weeks before a pandemic hits, it's probably not the best time to open. But, I also can't complain because we did intentionally buy a piece of land to build a brewery on that had outdoor space and room to house people. So we've made it through. I know many haven't. And so I can't complain.
What were some of the first beers that you had on tap when you guys opened last year?
So my favorite, one of the early beers. So we have a beer called Hayes Road, which has been really well received. And it's not just like a clever name with Hayes, but Oliver and I have a duplex that we share. He's there full time. I'm there like about a third of the time in northern Michigan. But it's on Hayes Road. So like a double IPA that was a great start. One of our most well-received beers from the start is called Every Five. And so we basically sourced as many ingredients as you could locally. And one of the beautiful parts about being in northern Michigan, one of the best malt purveyors that we have in this state to make beer with is Empire Malt. And Empire Malt does all of their own malt in their own kilns. Allison is like incredible. So you all need to come up, and like it's 15 minutes north of our brewery. So Every Five is a beer that we basically brewed with, Michigan malt from 15 minutes away, hops from 15 minutes away, water that was there locally. So we have a lot of very hyper local beers that I think are well done. But Oliver was a world-class lager brewer. So like the lightest beer, the one that you can taste the most fault in is his baseline. So I think that's kind of Oliver beer. I honestly like it. It's hard to step back and say I wouldn't drink this beer, but I have not poured one out, and I do that at many places. So, and I don't make the beer. I make it fun. That's my job. So the beer is good. In my opinion.
Now, I was thinking, like, a senior in Beulah is actually pretty interesting to me. I'm not myself personally. My family is from Coatmish, Thompsonville area.
Yeah, here you go, Coatmish and Thompsonville. Maybe you're very local there.
Yeah, so I'm curious, what are the locals up there thinking about this? I think about those areas. If you're in Coatmish or Thompsonville, something like that, you really have to go to Manistee. You have to go to Traverse City. You have to go to Frankfort. To find pretty much anything. Are you getting a lot of good reception from the locals in the area as far as the brewery goes, or has there been pushback like I've seen in other smaller areas when it comes to something like a brewery opening?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. So, we were very fortunate before we opened, and even before COVID hit, that we had sold over 500 lifetime memberships before we opened. So that was a huge part of starting the brewery, is that we got like significant buy-in, right? And our membership is not like re-up every year and then you can get something. It's like a 10% discount for your life for $100, right? So if somebody who's like, I'm going to be here, this is very worth it for me. As far as beer goes, I think that intentionally, I would have never done this without somebody like Oliver who could make a damn good lager. And this actually leads back to what I said, where I don't pour our beer out. Like, our local legend, which is our lager, which is very drinkable. Here, I got a can down here. I'm going to drink it at some point, but like hyper drinkable local like lager right here, American lager. But we aim that towards Milwaukee water profile, as far as the water profile we're trying to hit before we brew, right? So like you're trying to set up a pH and a balance on a water that's going to extract malt. So when somebody walks into our bar, and we get many people who are like, I've never had a craft beer. I've never had one I like. I'm like, well, what do you like? They're like, I'm a Miller guy, or I'm like, pour this lager right here. And then they order another one. Like, I'll give them a free one, but they're hooked. Like, I just feel like I judge breweries by their light beer, because you can make big stuff. Big stuff can be a happy accident, but it can also be an accident that gets covered up by some syrups and other flavors. Our light beer is damn good. Like I truly believe that. So I appreciate, like, Thompsonville. You've got you roll out that way, go to Lake Ann Brewing, gorgeous. Like Matt, the owner over there. We just got a lot of good breweries and a lot of good people over in Benzie County. And for whatever reason, we're still, I think, underthought of compared to the other spots up north.
And just so you guys know, you can find all of those breweries on the Michigan Brewery map app. Compliments of amazing sponsors like Matt here from Five Shores, who has helped continue pushing this app and making it a great app, which we are launching the newest update that's coming out tomorrow, if it's not out already. But the newest update, folks, for all you nerds out there that have been just begging me for stats to find out what percentage or X of Y, like how many breweries you've been to, stats will be introduced, as well as beer festivals. So then you know what's the upcoming beer festivals near you. So you know everything that's going on in the craft beer world. If you guys didn't see, Nick joined us. Welcome. What are you drinking?
Nick.
Good evening. It's been quite the interesting last day and a half. So.
Well, let's hear what you're drinking at least.
I'm drinking the Helles from Two Roots, enough said. And because we always like to do it up double fist style on this show, a blonde milkshake stout, or milkshake blonde from Rochester Mills.
You know, sooner or later, there's just too many flavors that go into a beer, kind of like what you were saying, Matt, with a beer that you can hide and a beer that you can't hide. And not to call out Rochester Mills, because, you know, they're definitely a proponent of consistency. I don't think I've ever had a Rochester Red that doesn't taste like a Rochester Red, or a milkshake stout that doesn't taste like a milkshake stout. But there are so many beers that it's just so hard to really gauge, just because there's just so much flavor coming at you. And you had the opportunity to brew a beer like that when you guys took part in the Black is Beautiful beer release last year. Talk to us about the promotion, because you guys are big proponents of it, and where did you guys donate your money to?
All right, so that's this is not like a planned segue, but I have like literally my last can from the fridge. This is not intentional, but I just reached in my fridge, and so I've got Cooper over here. Cooper, say hi, everybody. Cooper's kind of producing stuff. He's my 13-year-old son. He's like hey Dad, what I'm like, just give me, like, find out what I have in the fridge right now. And I literally didn't realize this was in here. So I'm an adopted father. I have 2 daughters who are Black, and that is not the reason I care about the issue or any of the issues that came out that our culture focused on and rightfully focused on after George Floyd's passing and everything that happened there. But what I think is, to be honest, I think we sort of paused and a lot of people thought the civil rights movement was like the last, like we did it, like, right. You know, I mean, we did this stuff, and I just don't think we have. I don't think everybody gets treated the same. I mean, I think if you can look at wages for females versus males, I think there's just a lot of inequity that we still have to deal with. So that's a personal standpoint, but I know Five Shores would echo where I'm coming from, is that we have an opportunity as a pub, as a local bar, to be a place where I can discuss it. If you disagree with this with me, that's fine. We have a lot of, I mean, going back to Northern Michigan, I may disagree with people that I'm sitting across from, but we're going to have a civil discourse over a beer. So when we got involved in Black is Beautiful, as far as a movement and a beer movement, we were the first brewery north of Flint in the state. And I think in the first 5 breweries in the whole state to say, we're going to do this. And what we believe strongly is that everybody is beautiful, but that doesn't mean because everybody's beautiful, everybody's treated the same. And as one of the few breweries with a head female brewer, we don't, that's not a gift or a charity. It is here's who this culture should be. Here's this country says it is. So if that lines up, that's great. So this beer was designed by a brewery out of San Antonio, or was it San Antonio? It's in Texas, San Antonio, right? Weathered Souls. I don't remember their city, but Weathered Souls, Marcus Baskerville and his team over there did this beer, and we jumped on right away. And I think it turned out really well. It is the first beer, like, we rushed ahead on stouts to get this one out, but I think it turned out well. I don't know how it tastes right now, Ken. I'm sorry. I know I've been talking for like a minute and a half. That's not how the show works. So I'm going to kick it back to you.
No, that's
I'm going to try the beer.
The whole show is to talk about you guys, to talk about what's going on. We actually had we had Marcus on the show back on episode 233, which you can go back into our archives and listen.
I saw that one.
Great episode. We had Harry and Wayne from the Brews Brothers join us. That was one of the days. Talk about power outages, which we were talking about during the the pre-show, and that was the biggest panic in my life because that was probably one of our biggest gets for a guest, and my power goes out, and I'm running to Detroit with a computer and monitors and setting up an entire computer setup on Wayne.
He was actually going to come to my house in Shelby Township, which is a whole
40 minutes away. Yeah,
another 40 minutes on top of that drive from Detroit.
No, I got my beautiful, loving and talented one. My other half, Sarah, who's the owner of Cultivate in Ipsy. She's from St. Clair and not St. Clair Shores. She gets pissed.
Yep.
Don't say Shores.
Don't get the two confused.
Don't get pissed.
You'll offend somebody.
Not St. Clair Shores. I'm from St. Clair. I'm like, I get it. I get it.
No, I know St. Clair. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna be honest. I've got so when I said it was the last can, I was the last can that I'm gonna drink. I have a 4-pack. I have 3 more. This is tasting really good. And again, I brew. I brewed since I was 18, home brewed for years, but I also I could have taken the leap at some point and said, can my garage beer open a brewery? I just never felt like that was like a leap that was worth taking. And maybe it was like a non-risk standpoint, but when Oliver, who's been brewing like world-class beer for years and has gold medals at competitions that I follow, when he was ready to do that. And Wolverine is I literally had dinner at Wolverine, me and my kids last night. We were to get the nachos. I had a gulo. I had their Oktoberfest and their Harvest Deluxe last night, like for dinner while we were waiting for nachos. I love Wolverine and I love what Oliver did there, but we're just not an all lager brewery. We're not trying to lager everything. I think there's a place for lagers. Oliver feels like there's place, but like, please don't forget anybody. Like, I think Wolverine is still in my like top 10 breweries in this state. If I'm going to go drink 3 beers, I never have one I don't finish there. There's a lot of breweries where I'm like, I'm trying to be nice because you know who I am. And I And I do that, I'm not going to, I don't know. I don't want to say there's a lot of beers. There's a lot of bars. There's a lot of beers. All the breweries are awesome.
The benefit of being a podcast host is that I have the ability to tell you that I don't like something, but that's just more an opinion of a beer as opposed to anything about the beer. Because especially if you give me a beer or a style that I'm not into, I'm like, all right. I felt so bad because I had Annette's husband on when he was working over at Kickstand, and I had an IPA and gave you like the biggest bitter IPA face on camera, and I felt so bad when I'm like, I tried. It's just not for me, and that's okay. I even did it with Travis when he gave me a bottle of Double Dwarf from Old Nation, and it stuck with him because he reminded me 4 years later after I found another bottle of it. He's like, "Hey, remember?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry."
So Danny, were you one of like? Didn't you write like an awesome article about our beer life? Because like I feel like it's how I met. I'm like, I think Danny's awesome.
Every 5, I found it last summer when I just started writing for Better on Draft. I had never heard of you before. So you were on the never been covered list. And I happened to find the beer at Holiday Market. And I was like, all right. And it was delicious. It was extraordinary. And it was just, I didn't know anything about you at that point. I didn't know that you were brand new, like 5 months old, 6 months old. So good job. I never saw it again down here, but if I do.
Well, so, I mean, we're in that weird spot where it's like, everybody on this, like anybody listening to this loves beer, right? But we're in that weird spot where it's like, make enough beer to distribute versus not. And people who aren't in the business, just like, you just have to think about, like, if I make this beer, right? Like I can make this much beer to pay bills at the brewery, and I have to make this much beer to pay bills at a distributor, at a bar with a keg, and I have to make this much beer to pay a grocery store, right? Like the distribution is a hard game. And I think that's where, we've lost some breweries this past couple of years. Like Arcadia made good beer. Like we've lost some breweries, but like, I don't necessarily care that we don't care that much about grocery store shelves. Like it's important because we're in Northern Michigan to have a few good beer bars and a few good places where our beer is consumed, but that's a hard game. Like I don't really want to get into we're making 10 cents on a gallon game. I'd rather be a place where, hey, I've been here going for 30 years. I've never had a place my family could have a beer. And that's kind of what we get at Five Shores. Like people have never had a chance to have a brewery in their county even, like let's go sit at a place with their whole family. But yeah, I mean, beer distribution is like that's a hard game.
Well, Oak Park got its first 2 breweries this year. My city, like we were dry until 9 years ago, like literally a dry city. So I know exactly what you mean. Like having someplace, I could go to Ferndale, I could go to Ryle Oak, or I could go to Detroit, but sometimes I want to stay home. Now I can.
So, what are the 2 in Oak Park right now, Danny? I know one, but what are the 2?
Dog and Pony, and then Unexpected just opened, grand opening yesterday. That was that's
Eddie Stencil.
Ed Stencil. Yeah, River Rouge.
Yep. Hey, we have a question from the audience from a Robert Everett. Wanting to know if you have any future collabs that you plan on doing after the ones that you did with Kuma and then the Siren of Pastry Stout Barb.
That's a great question. So Kuma's a good friend, and I love Kuma. Check out Kuma Brews. I think honestly, Kuma's gonna take a weird path in this industry on the outside, but I think it's gonna be way better than any brewer could do. I think Kuma has figured out like can make damn good brews. There's that's not an audience question when you pop on the screen.
I wanted to give Ken the heads. I'm like, yep, I'm admitting him into the room right now.
I was not prepared for it, but keep going.
Surprise!
I was ready. I've been ready. Here we go.
What do you have to say? Continue. But yeah, I guess I was kind of curious about that. Hi everybody, glad to be back. So somewhat, it was like just back here because plans got a little canceled today. But yeah, I was curious about the collaborations, just because, like I said, you did the one with Kuma, you did the one with Barb. There definitely was some talk that we had about potentially doing one ourselves that hopefully we can work on.
All right, so here's what we need to do. This night, like whoever's watching, whoever's talking, like us six are on the screen, so we'll make a beer. We'll make a beer out of this because why not, right? So let's make a stout. Let's figure out. We just bought like 15 Heaven Hill barrels a couple weeks ago, so like maybe like put something into a Heaven Hill barrel. But like I think there needs to be a beer out of this, and that's like Oliver and Ellie, our head brewer, are gonna be like, Matt, what do you promise? I'm like, I don't give a shit. This is like the fun part. I've done business shit for a while. So sorry. Is there swearing on here? Is there swearing
you can
on here?
swear.
Yes, there is. I told you what I wanted what I wanted to have thrown in there, and you were intrigued. That was that being German chocolate cake. So
yeah, so like I think your vote will be registered, but I already called the 1/6 quorum for what we make. So like I appreciate your input. I just divided this up because I didn't know you're here. Like I already
I didn't know it was going to be here.
All right. So we got one vote for German chocolate cake.
You know, anything can go in it, but it's got to be like a 19% stout. I mean, that's what we got to do. There aren't too many of those out there. So kind of corner the market if you make that.
Fuck 19. 19.5.
19.5, even better. I'm in.
19.4. Because then we can both agree, right? Yeah. Like round down.
That would be a very interesting. I'm curious now that I just joined in. Just like real quick, has there been any talk about your second location being Cultivate and how things have been going out there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, so when it comes to businesses, my wife Sarah and I both work like equally hard on what we're doing in our house, right? So the ownership of Cultivate is 100% hers. So that's her project from our family. But this weekend we have a huge 6th anniversary special going on. And what I would say is like she didn't buy Cultivate as like a thing that like she didn't start it, but that place started with such an incredible reverence for the community and what they're trying to do. And that's honestly all that Cultivate is trying to carry over right now is like, hey, do what you say you're going to do for the community, give back. And so over the last like 3 months, I know that even when restaurants are losing money, I know that she's donated back about $3,500 to the community. And every month there's a beer that's like $1 of the draft to, it's called Grow Ipsy is what she called it. But like every month there's a beer, a cocktail, and a coffee drink where $1 goes back to a nonprofit that's doing good stuff in the community. So this month was a place called We the People Community Garden, and We the People employs ex-convicts and people coming out of the prison system who are looking for work, and teaches a skill of farming. But also, I mean, it's like thousands of pounds of produce that this little farm gives back to the community. So even this weekend at Cultivate, and I'll speak for Sarah right now, but there's a 2017 KBS that's been on the ice for 4 years. And we're not like, it's not for sale. It's for a $10 donation for a 4-ounce pour this weekend. That keg has like a 6 barrel has about 600 ounces. We have 150 pours out of that. And people are like, why is that expensive? Why is it $10? Well, it's 2017 KBS, first off.
True.
On draft that's been in cold storage for those years. Mm-hmm. But because that's $1,500 to a local community. So whether you're drinking Founders, whether you cancel Founders, whatever, all I know is that like Sarah's committed at Cultivate to not partner with businesses that haven't lined up. And this is a keg that's sitting there since 2017 that could get thrown away. To be honest, it probably just would have like got drank in the background with the staff. But that's 150 pours at $10 for 4 ounces. Like come out like $1,500,
right,
to a community farm. $1,500.
nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've seen quite a few breweries, bars that have had their supply. Then, of course, the situation arose to where they had to get rid of it, and it was either dump or sell and donate. And I see no issue at all with sell and donate, because it's giving back to the community and putting that money back out there where you've already spent it in buying this beer in the first place.
I mean, shit, like Robert, what I would tell you, Robert, I love you, man. Honestly, like I used to play trivia with this dude like 7 years ago before like any beer was out, like hashtag Sporkle Trivia. Like I've known this guy for a long time before he knew me, right? Because I just be there drinking. But the bottom line is, I just hope any of us, whether you're white, black, whatever your skin tone is, just squash the hate when it starts and don't let it linger. And then don't like kind of fake apologize for it. Like if you make a mistake, be like, I didn't know. Right. Like I'm a white man raising two of my daughters who are black, and I don't know, and I make mistakes, but just say, I don't know. And I think that's probably, I don't want to like surmise something, because like the founders people are good people, like this employees are good people. The beer's good. Like everything's good there. I think the one thing that is a struggle as a business is to say I'm right when you don't know you're right. And I think that's the one thing, if I could point out a failure, which I don't really want to have to, but if they had just said, like, I don't get it, but it sounds like somebody got crushed here, and I'm going to step back and try and learn from that. Like, I think that's what I can as a cisgender white male, 40-year-old dude who's like somehow cool because I make freaking beer, like I would just say, like, I don't know. And I'm not trying to make sure somebody's existence is worse than mine, because like, this is all I got drawn up with, this is what I encountered, but I don't know, Right.
Hey, as I would say with the Brews Brothers and Harry and Wayne, and as a member of the Black delegation, that's all we asked.
Oh, Sarah's going to come say hi. She's like, what are you getting me into? So Sarah wants my beautiful, so come out to Cultivate this weekend. We got some damn good beers. Like, was it like 2019 Bourbon County on draft? Some 2020 Bourbon County bottles. The anniversary, 6th anniversary Cultivate Stout. So. Woo! So we got some fun stuff going on. Seriously.
Sarah, I have a quick question.
I'm going to translate because I got it only in my ear. I'm going to translate.
Did you ever have a Ferndale Project beer on tap?
Oh, so yeah, we definitely have Ferndale Project beers. Yeah.
But was there ever one like early last year, like before they opened? Did they send anything up to you?
Yeah, so Ferndale Project. Before they opened, I can't remember what the one. Yeah, like was it like the IPA?
So it was around Valentine's Day last year. I went to Cultivate for Ann Arbor GPO's event, and I swear I had a Ferndale Project beer, but they didn't open until a week later. Did that happen, or did I dream it?
Yeah. So I know. So we know all the brewers over there, and we had Ferndale Project, and Sarah's like, I don't hate. She hates the cameras. Like, she's like, I'm out. She's like, I'm out. It's like, so yes. So Ferndale Project. So going back to Robert's question. I think there's a few breweries in the state that I love from a equity standpoint of people. And Dan, that's a great question. Like, and I would put us up there with anybody north of Flint that's speaking up. And I'm not trying to call anybody out, and I'm not saying we're great, right? So like, I don't think either of those are true. But what I would say is Northern Michigan breweries, you have if this is your voice, speak your voice. Don't stand on the fence, and Five Shores probably loses some money where we are in Northern Michigan, because I don't want you can make a lot of money by being an asshole. That's probably true. I mean, I know it's true, right? The people that made the most money were the people that thought it was okay to literally own other people, right? So as we move as a society past like that bullshit, which takes a long time, but I'm going to profit off somebody. I'm not going to pay well. One thing I'm proud of is Five Shores, our bartenders this year, our staff this year, all made $40+ an hour, including tips. Like everybody, right? Because we're not going to. I want that brewery to be there for 30 years. But we're not. Oliver and I aren't taking money. I didn't get a check, right? But our tips were like $20 an hour for our team this past summer. Wow. Right. And what are you doing if you're moving into a community where you're not from and you're owning a business where it's like, I'm just going to pull 80% of the money out of my bank account? That's literally just what your question, right? Where your collab's going.
We're still on that question.
Well, I mean, when you're actually, which is kind of, with what you just said there about, paying
Batch,
your
Batch and Ferndale project. That's where our collabs are going. Batch and Ferndale project. Those are our two.
But like what you just said about, paying your staff like 40, basically getting them like $40 an hour, the like the businessman who is all about profit and margins and revenues and EBITs. Sorry, I'm like going into my Daimler phase right now at work. That some would say, why not cut that down and start opening up new locations? Why not have you're somewhat up north? You're up north to me because you are north of M59, so you're up north. And then you have
we're up north. Yeah.
Why not have other locations? Use some of that money to have other locations.
That's a good question. So I don't believe that we won't. We live in Ypsi, and I don't want to do a teaser on something that's like very young, but like I think there's a chance you might see some Five Shores cider at some point with a local cider mill here near Ypsilanti. I don't think there's the chance you won't see a Five Shores tap room or an iteration, right? Like, I don't think our brand at Five Shores is very like Surf Five up north. Like, let's have a beer by the beach. Like, it's very, very mellow, but like, I don't think there's a reason that, all right, here's what I'm going to say, and this might be uncomfortable for people, but if I'm move into Detroit, I'm going to have at least 51% Black business partners in that. I'm not going to be a white owner of a business in the city of Detroit solo. So like that might be a thing that some people struggle with, but I'm just not going to move into a city that's 70% Black and say I'm going to be a white-owned business owner. So if we do move, which we've thought about bringing Five Shores south, it is going to be with an ownership group that reflects the community and is from the community. And I'm not going to open another business in the community that I don't have an involvement in. I feel like I have involvement in Beulah. Like I feel like when we open there, we like set up some sort of summer routes, but I'm still a vacationer. The locals love me, but I'm still like, they love Oliver. He's there the full year round. I just think it's different. I don't know. Maybe that resonates with some people. I just don't want to be that guy.
We definitely could use it here in especially Northwest Detroit, where it's kind of a craft beer drought up in this corner. Still
hey,
love.
Let's go. Hey, you want to manage it? You want to run it? Like, I need a partner. Like, let's go.
I don't know how to run a business.
Of course you do. You got children. I know you know how to run a business. I know you do.
It's like the one part in the movie, Goodfellas. I don't know anything about the restaurant business. The only thing I know how to do is order from the menu. That's all we know.
I know.
That's all we know how to do. We just know how to order from the menu. That's all we know on the show.
And one quick one before we get to our final questions, because as you had mentioned, that you have adopted children. That is definitely one thing that we both have in common, that we have adopted children. And I'm curious, especially with your children, do you want to teach them the business of brew and help to put them into, that kind of unicornish community that we have right now of Black brewery business owners and brewers and of the sort?
I'm going to tell you, dude, like hair standing up on the back of my neck. Hold on. I'm going to grab, I've been drinking this. I have this beer in my fridge before I answer that question that has no label. And it's just real like, yeah. And my son is like, Dad, drink that. I'm like, I don't know. It's been there for years. So I'm going to chug the rest of Black is Beautiful. And then we're going to crack that one. So you all talk for a second. I'll be right back.
I'm going to say chugging that Black is Beautiful is very adventurous. I'm going to say
that is a very quality, true to style stout. I absolutely love the version.
And then ask the question again, because after that chug and after pouring this, I'm sure I won't remember. So you all talk for a second. I'll be back.
So the question again, what I was asking was that, like I said, that with both of us having, adopted kids in common, several of yours that are Black, that in the future, when they get older, are you envisioning teaching them the business of brewing and becoming a brewer or a brewery owner so that they can become part of, the Black community that owns breweries or brew for that matter? Are they interested in it? At least I know they're probably still too young, but
it's a damn good question. I love the answer, like a multi-level question off that. Who else listening to that question? Like, did anybody else resonate? Have another one on there? Because I'm going to pour the rest of this beer.
So what is that beer?
I don't know.
Oh, you haven't tried it yet.
Let's see it. Look at it. Okay. Amberish in color.
Yeah, it's amberish. It's like at this point, I don't know what it is.
Is there any debris floating in that beer right now?
No, there's no snakes. I mean, it's like
snakes.
It's still
no
like,
snakes. What is that?
No scorpions in that beer. You guys are good.
No, but if you ever
was this a bottle of tequila or something?
No, but if you ever see a beer pour out of like a really shitty draft line, we've had our fair share of it. But like when you see something, it like slithers on. It's like a little snake. It's like they're usually little like lines of stuff that there's no snakes. There ain't no snakes. Right. There's no snakes there.
No snakes.
Oh,
it's got to be 5 Shores. It's so clean.
For those that are just listening on audio and not able to see video, the reaction when Danny said that was pretty priceless.
I don't even know what to say.
She's never going to drink a draft beer ever again. That's what she's about to say.
Cans and bottles for the rest of the time drinking.
I'm going to Schoolcraft to learn how to clean draft lines with Annette May tomorrow, so I will tell her this.
Annette will. If you haven't, you could be whipped into shape, but if you haven't been whipped, she'll still do that, right? Like you could be in shape, but Annette will still whip you, whether you're in shape or not. And that's the best. I mean, anybody know Annette? Raise your hand if you know Annette.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the best. So, Robert, first off, much love to your trivia shows for years through Sporkle, like killing it at EMBC, but you've been doing like live trivia for years. And I did that for like 3 years, right? When my kids were little, like honestly, my kids were little, like Cooper was like 3 and Colby was 1. I had a show in Rochester at a burger place. And I was like, it's my one day a week where it's like, pour me some beer for free. As far as kids wanting to do brewing, what I would say is my kids at the brewery, it's the place they feel best about themselves. My kids, every one of my kids, white, black, it doesn't matter as far as race. Like, and I think people who have have chosen to be less kind to people at breweries are automatically more kind, right? So what I would challenge people is like, be the best you would be at like the situation where you want to be. We have people who would be probably shitty towards my kids or my family in another setting, because I'm the brewery owner. They treat us well. They treat our kids well. Our kids run out through the brewery. Our kids run around everywhere, right? Because like Cooper and Colby, my 11 and 9-year-old, who are now 13 and 11, like carried dump truck, carried freaking loads of trash into a dumpster when we were doing construction in that place. Like they push wheelbarrows and dump them when we were doing construction. And so when people come in and like, here's my place, I'm trying to chill, I think what I hope is that people understand that breweries are a place where we can challenge the status quo, where I have two of my 5 kids who are Black, where we can challenge the status quo. And they can be like, I'm going to come in here, I'm not going to be an asshole, but like maybe they are, maybe they don't, maybe they're not a jerk. Like they're probably not saying a bunch of trash about people, but maybe like they're like, Matt has this person who I met. Maybe our brewery in northern Michigan, which is a really shitty entry point, honestly, as far as like treating people well, as far as like a lower entry point. And I'm not saying because of northern Michigan, but what I'm saying is maybe we can say like the lowest denominator is I know somebody who's nice to other people, and I can choose that. And I just don't want to get into a spot in this culture, in this country, where we can't choose a place to treat each other well. You know, that's my kids get so much extra grace at the brewery because they're my kids and they get to run around. I just wish my kids had the same grace. And I don't always see my kids who are of color versus not of color getting the same grace. I guess that's what I would say. Like I have a pretty impartial standpoint, but I don't see my boys who are white and older getting the same treatment all the time. Right. That's what I don't see. Mm-hmm. And I do see it at breweries. So I'm going to tell you, as beer drinkers, anybody who's listening to this, I'm going to tell you, I do see it at breweries. Like we get treated really well, and we get regardless of whether they know I'm part of a brewery, we just don't get the same treatment. Right. The rest of the places we go to eat, breweries are like, the reason I love breweries, honestly, the reason I love this is I feel like it's mostly people who want to treat people well. Like 90%, 95%. It's not the same as bars. It's not the same.
Facts.
All right. Well, as we end every show, everyone's going to have one final question for you, Matt, before we send you on your way to the abyss of that mystery beer that you are drinking currently. So we are going to start with Nick and make our way around. Nick, what is your final question?
Oh, man. I haven't asked this one in a hot while. Your guilty pleasure beer that you would always go to. What is it? Can't be craft, though. I want to throw that little. Can't be craft. Guilty pleasure.
Right. So that's a tough question because craft is a tough question. So like, if I'm going to answer it in like a non-craft way, like, I mean, I'll drink Two Hearted all the time, right? Like, but like that is that craft? Yes. Is that not? I gotta probably get. Yeah. All right. So if they move beyond craft, to be honest, I will just go into a bar if I'm with my friends, and I will just say, give me the cheapest. Like I'll just do the cheap. Like give me the cheapest beer, right? Like I don't give after something that's been cared for. There's a strong line in the ground, like where it's like it doesn't matter to me anymore. Mm-hmm. And there's most of the beers that like don't matter, and they're going through shitty lines at most bars where I guess like give me like that's an awesome question. Give me the cheapest one.
The cheapest beer.
Give me 3 of those.
I feel like I have to say this, and I'll let everyone ask their questions. I feel like, Matt, you're the kind of guy that will go to the Fulling warehouse in Hamtramck and go to the mystery machine and hit the $2 button every time.
I love the mystery machine. I love
nothing wrong with that.
Let's go. And also,
I feel like you're gonna love whatever you get from the $2 button out of that mystery machine.
Yeah, Pretzel Bell's got a $2.50 button, but like that $2 button feels expensive. Or it feels unexpensive versus the $2.50 button. Like what Wayne County $2 button, $2.50?
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting an extra beer for $10. $2 versus $2.50. I mean, think about it. That's a deal.
You got it so right. I'm like, I gotta drink it. But that tasted terrible. I'd like 2 more, please.
That was by far the best answer to that question.
Yeah,
I like that. That was good.
I agree.
All right. Best answer I've had on that question a long time.
Dan.
All right. So this is one I like to throw out there once in a while, but we're going to add a twist to it too. So you have to play Ken in Edward 40 Hands, and you have to use beers off your menu, but you get to pick for each. Which beer are you picking for yourself, and which beers are you picking for Ken so you can beat him?
Oh, God. That ain't even fair.
That's a softball. What's the most bitter triple IPA you can give me?
All right. So here's the thing. I'm not afraid of anybody. So Ken can have. All right. So I'll do Black is Beautiful. 12% stout.
I mean, we just saw him chug, so
I like where this is going.
All right. Who was that? Hold on. Who's that gone? I'll do that, and I'll do another one, and I'll give him our 4% local legend lagers. Right? No, we got a beer coming out called Hibernated. So Hibernated is our first barrel aged series coming out right now. So first thing we put in barrels. It's from Ironfish Distilling. So Ironfish is like 20 minutes away. They're great people. Like one of the Michigan's only farm to bottle distilleries, maybe the only one where they grow their own grain. I'll do one of my Black is Beautiful and one of my barrel aged Hibernated series. And Hibernated is coming out. Like, check out 5 Shores. Hashtag 5 Shores. Check out the website. Come on over. Buy all the stuff. Whatever. Ken, I'm gonna give you 2 local legend lagers.
Good luck, Ken. And shout out to Ironfish. They're in Thompsonville. It's a great distillery.
Dude, Ironfish, honestly, if you haven't been to Ironfish, go there. Their owners, 2 couples, incredible people, really good people. And their welcome to town gift was 3 rye whiskey barrels and 1 maple syrup barrel, right? Like, nice. They're like, welcome to town. And that's what Hibernated has been aged in. So our first stout's coming out. But Ken, can I give you a bottle of vodka? Like, I'll give you a full bottle of Weller's, right? Over me for 4 beers. Like, I'll drink the Weller's. You get 4 beers. We'll see who's standing better. We need to do like a live. I got the Weller's. I got the bottle of Weller's. So you
this is amazing, by the way. Just saying. This is amazing.
Danny, what's your final question?
Sorry, I know I messed this up.
No, you're not.
What was your gateway beer that made you put down Miller Lite and start looking at Michigan craft beer, for example?
It's an awesome question. So I became a fan of Bell's like when I was like 18, and before Bell's was like Bell's, right? Like that's I don't know that I have a gateway beer, but I also saw stuff where I'm like, I like beer more than liquor because like liquor make my nose curl when I was 18. You know, like I sort of like started fun drinking early. I was like I've always been my friend's like early adoption to like fun, you know, like, hey guys, we should do alcohol this weekend. We should, you know, maybe it's not a great question. Maybe it is. Hey Cooper, you're 13. Close your eyes and ears. All right. Sorry, he's down there.
Earmuffs.
Bell's was my first like Bell's everything was my first like the one that I knew, right? Because I went to Northern and there was no good beer. There's no good craft beer. And I'm like, why do people love this? Right. And so I started bringing my own beer and I really liked it. I guess the foray to moving to owning a brewery, I just never felt comfortable being like, here's what I made in my garage. Let's make a business of it. Right. So like, I think Bell's is like Bell's like Bell's is great. Bel Air Brown from Shorts, like some of the Shorts early beers, like were probably a transition in my brain. Like Shorts, like killed it for a long time. Like Magician, some of the Shorts, like some of those. I also went to England when I was like 19 and just rode the trains around England because it cost like $2,000 before 9/11 to go and like to go to England for a summer. Like I spent $2,000 for a summer in England with flights and going to places and just drinking around. I mean, there's so many beers, but what I realize is what I like is people just being nice to each other, and people are way more nice after 2 beers. And that's sort of like I'm on like a 2 beer policy in my life. Like if you haven't had 2 beers, treat somebody like you should. Like treat somebody like you had 2 beers. Like everybody's way kinder.
That's a good point.
Don't have 10.
Don't have 10. That's when you start throwing fists.
Maybe have 10. Have 10 if you're nice. If you're an angry drunk, you got 2. I'm not an angry drunk. I love y'all. I can have 10 and I'll still love y'all.
Rob, what's your final question?
All right, simple fill in the blank. Fill this in with a beer style. I judge a brewery by how they make their blank.
Lagers. I mean, I don't think there's another question. I mean, I don't honestly like make me a light beer that I want one more of. Right? So like Oliver at Five Shores. So like I'm gonna segue this and say Ellie is our head brewer right now. So Ellie is one of the only female head brewers in the state. Oliver's in brewmaster role and business role. So Oliver at Wolverine for 10 years making their lagers, right? So he's out of like we have handed that over to a 24-year-old female named Ellie who is fucking like incredible. But when I go to a bar, a brewery, it doesn't matter. Give me your lightest beer. And it can either be no flavor, no alcohol water, and that's trash, or it can be just it's 5% and it tastes like nothing, and there's alcohol in there, right? Like but you can't hide mistakes. You cannot hide mistakes in a 4.5% beer. You can walk into a brewery that's doing all triple IPAs, and they can hide every misfeasance and malflavor, and they can hide all their shit, and they can have a terrible beer, but they can just pour a bunch of hops into it. It's like that's triple Citra. That's not a terrible beer. That's triple Citra. You know, they can just yell at you on a terrible beer. I think my favorite beer at every brewery, Robert, that's a great question. Give me your lightest beer. And if it's 4.5% tastes good, I love it. Like that's my first order. I want to taste your heavy shit, but if you can't make the light shit good, the rest is probably gonna be poo poo poo. The roses really smell like poo 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 poo.
Well, hopefully we don't get hit on YouTube.
We don't get a C and D for Outcast there, but that's okay. We'll gamble. Why not?
Yeah.
All right. So my final question is actually 5 questions.
Here we go.
I am testing you. You're going to have to think very fast on your feet. I decided to go deep into the archives of Untapped and find some amazing reviews of Five Shores beer. Your job is to tell me the beer.
Hey, wait. You didn't get that. You didn't have to get that deep to find good reviews, did you?
Oh, I said reviews.
You said you got so deep that you found good reviews. I felt that it was offensive. You're like, I dug so deep. I found like 5 good ones.
You'll see what I mean by good here in a moment.
I dug for hours and I found 5 of them that seemed good. Here, let's go.
All right. What is this beverage? All right. We got 1 review. Not a cider guy. 3 stars. We also got another review. Good cider. 3.25 stars.
Mr. McIntosh.
It was actually your whimsy.
All right. Sorry. I don't love apples. I'm not an apple guy.
That's all right. Here's another great list of reviews. Once again, I've hit the lager yeast jackpot. 4 stars. Noise, 3.25 stars. Outstanding lager, 4 stars.
Nice. Once again,
And they gave you 3.25 stars for that.
For noise. Outstanding is only 4.
wait. So outstanding is better than noise?
Apparently.
Yeah, outstanding is a 4-star review. Noise is a 3.25.
Noise.
I mean, that's just a stupid review. No offense. You're great. Come get some beers at our place.
It's a currently being made, and it's a 5% beer.
We have a good Mexican lager, but I'm just going to pass. I just want to hear what they're talking about. I'm going to pass.
They're talking about Benzie.
Oh, it's not even a Mexican lager. What? Nice. Mexican lager, nice. It's like, that's not the beer, bro.
All right. Nose of a macro lager, mild ale taste that almost immediately disappears off the palate. Personally, not a huge fan of the style. 3.25 stars.
Benzie original?
That was your freshie.
Fresh. Oh, so Freshies actually was like, Freshies was fun because that's supposed to be out of like light snow. So that was like a lighter hopped ale. Are you trying to make me sad?
No, these reviews always have something like not a cider guy, 3 stars. Not a fan of the style, 3.25 stars.
I would remind you that we're like a 3.93 brewery on Untapped.
We know you're a great brewery. These are just some funny reviews.
Sorry. Read some more funny ones that aren't funny to you, and I'll see if we're gonna cry.
Top of the line seltzer, 4.5 stars.
What?
Oh,
what's a 5-star seltzer?
I don't know.
Honestly, that one is what makes me want to like just quit.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding.
Burn the brewery down.
This is the best, like the best. You make the best like 4.5 stars seltzers. Like you guys did it. You made like sugar water taste like fruit. You did so good. Tell your mom.
4.5 stars.
Jeez, when you ended it with that, like I'm gonna go take. You guys talk for like a minute. I'm gonna go take a piss. You guys talk for a minute about what I just said, but like, don't quit before I get back, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Because that's a sad way to end. But I've had to pee for an hour, and if that's what I held it for, then I got 5 kids, and like. Y'all got to raise them. Like if that's, we got to end on a better. If the best thing is our seltzers, this is it. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, he's going to use the restroom.
I'll do total loss right now.
So am I. I'll go through our sponsors real quick. Thank you so much to Baffin Brewing over in St. Clair Shores, North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, just south of F59 on Rochester Road. They got everything from liquor, beer, wine, cider, hard seltzer, top of the line seltzer, maybe.
Top of the line 4.5-star seltzers on tap.
And of course,
Utopia's aged worldwide stout that everybody's
2.5 stars. 2.5 stars. Get that out of here.
Oh, the final ones as such is going to be so great too that I have for you guys. But PCI Brandcraft, that's at PCI Brandcraft on Instagram and Facebook. Anything you can throw a logo on, whether it's a t-shirt, a hat, stickers to put on your beer fridge. That's what PCI Brandcraft manages. So go find them at PCI Brandcraft on Instagram and Facebook. Those are our sponsors. Of course, you can find us on all of our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Better on Draft, and of course, our Untapped Find Out What We Were Drinking bod podcast, friending us on Untapped. That's your local legend, I believe.
Oh yeah,
Matt.
Oh, you guys done talking shit?
Oh no,
nobody's talking shit.
We got one more for you.
Oh,
all right, you ready?
I guess I don't know. After everything's been unloaded, Ken, on me right now, I guess I don't know. I just thought this was gonna be a fun Friday night. You know, like let's be friendly, but like I mean,
we're having fun reading terrible Untapped reviews. We hope you're not taking them serious.
Oh no!
Here's my thing. I guess I would say Northern Michigan Brewery having a 3.93 after 2 years on tap. Like, you read some bullshit reviews, but here's what I'm going to say. Start a brewery in our neck of the woods and get a 3.93 and we'll be friends. Like, get a 3.53, get a 1.53. Come step next door. Like, we're friends.
I feel
right?
like you feel like we're making fun of you, but we're making fun of the people who wrote the reviews.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to tell you is I don't want you to feel bad. I want them to feel bad.
Oh, they should feel bad.
Stupid reviews.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Start a brewery next door to me and make good beer. You know what I'm going to do?
Oh, you're talking to the reviewers, not to me.
I'm going. No, reviewers.
Yeah, you're talking to the reviewers, not to me.
All right. Can I get in the camera right now?
Yeah, you're in the camera.
Hi, reviewers. My name's Matt. Partner of Five Shores. We put $500,000 into a town up north, which is incredible and gorgeous. Our building was empty for 40 years. Nobody started a business there. Probably 2 generations in your family. And what I'm going to say is this very clearly: make some beer in our county. Benzie County needs more of you. It needs more people that will invest in this county, because we love you and we need you. And if you want to talk shit about a beer, that's fine. Buy 3 4-packs. Spend $30 before you talk shit. But don't buy 1 beer and talk shit. Drink all of them. And I will encourage you. Find Matt. I'll buy your beers. But if you're the guy who's going to write negative, like 4-star or less reviews for any small business during a pandemic, I'm gonna speak clearly. 4-star reviews on Google are not helpful for small businesses. Don't write them. If you liked the business, write 5 stars. Otherwise, back out. That's my whole thing. Like, we get so many small businesses like get torched on these reviews because people don't go to places with a 4.3 Google review and somebody's like, I freaking hate it. 4 stars, I hate it. Like 80%. It's really Matt, it's a B+.
If these guys ever like out themselves to you saying they give you a bad review, don't be afraid to like dip your balls in their beer either. Like, that'll be a way to.
I don't want to improve anybody's beers, bro.
This message brought to you by Five Shores.
No. Drink
beer. Make beer.
Legit. I know this is stupid, but I'm going to do Professor Glasses a little bit more.
I'll do the same. Okay.
Anybody who is listening, if you're at a brewery, we're all small businesses. If you don't love us, anything below 4 stars does not help. Don't worry me a 3-star or a 4-star. And if we're a 2 or 1, come talk to my manager. We'll make it right. But like, it doesn't help. Like, I'm telling you, we get these reviews like 4 stars, loved it. It's like, cool. You just ruined my business this week because you got pulled down on Google, right? Like, it's stupid. But like, if you like it, 5 stars is like, I like it, right? Like, that's where I'm telling people, like, you don't get like these stupid reviews. It's like, beer people, rate your beers on tap, but just know that like small businesses, that stuff trickles down. Like 3, 4 stars sounds good, but if I'm a 3.5 brewery, are you stopping on your vacation? You're not going out of the way, right? So like that's the one bit of real shit I would bring is like 4.5 stars for a brewery is like I'd stop, right? I'm driving past, but I'd stop, right? If you don't have 4 stars or better, talk to the manager and figure that shit out because they want to get 4 stars or above.
On Untapped,
3.8 is a
not
brewery,
Google.
nobody's stopping. No, but like Google's gonna rule that shit for like it's Google, right? Like how many y'all? I'm gonna ask this: how many would stop on a vacation on the freeway for a 4.7 Google brewery versus a 3.8? Right? And we don't have a nationwide thing. We don't have that. Like I know you're building the maps, and I love that, but I hate that we're like a 4.8 on Google and somebody's got 4.85 and they're better. But I also hate when somebody's like 1 star didn't have, water that was cold enough. It's like, I don't.
Are you located in Arizona now? I mean,
yeah.
1 star. They don't have a Trappist beer.
That's pretty. So I still have one more, and then we're gonna close up the episode. but this is still one
Sorry.
of my favorite.
I know. I went on a tangent.
No, you did a Ken Podium rant right there. That's something I would say during segment 2. All right, so this is easily my favorite review that I have of yours, just because of how it comes out. Best coffee stout I've ever had. 5 thumbs up. 4.75 stars.
Oh shit! Screenshot because I feel like we need to make a beer called 5 Thumbs Up. Like, I just feel like, yeah. I mean,
it's amazing.
So you can look. That's actually your Black is Beautiful.
On 5 thumbs up.
Yeah, 5 thumbs up. Best coffee stout they've ever had. 4 3/4 stars.
I wonder what a 5 is.
You gotta make
I'm
it.
tell you, like, I got like 2.5 buddies. I got like me and like 1.5 friends who like would give their thumbs for this. That's me. like, or do you have like, is it you and like 3 buddies, right? Either way, like it's a lot of thumbs.
Not 1.5 buddies.
That one's got to be that one's got to be a lager though. You call it 5 thumbs up, but it's got to be 4.75%.
But like, what if one guy is like, I got 0.75. You got to get another 0.75. And now we're 1.75. Like, you got 1 bite. You're like 2.5, right? Like, what does the rest add up? Like, if you're like, I mean, I feel like this is like a great. Like, I love your rating of my beer at 1.5 thumbs. Like, that's like a lot of your energy. Even bending the thumb is like easier than just being like this. Like, that negative energy takes some like shit. We're at like 1.5. You got like maybe 2 more buddies like that, and like one guy who's like, yeah, fuck it, I only got a half. Like, we got, how do you get there? Ken, how do you get there?
I'm actually looking at this guy's Untapped to see if he's got a 5-star in there. Oh, it's Founders CBS.
It's a good beer.
What year did he rate that in?
2018.
Okay.
Also rated 5 stars, Humalupalicious in 2014.
Okay. So this guy's got like, okay stuff older. If you rated like CBS in like 2021 versus 5 Shores is like 4.5 stars, like best beer I've ever had, I'd be like, that's a problem. But like, he seems to moved on a little bit.
That's all right. That's all right.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. It's been a blast. We will definitely have to figure out a date and time to come on up to Beulah, Michigan, to find the 5 Shores up there on Crystal Lake.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I drank significantly more than I was supposed to.
We won't tell on you. Don't worry.
That's going to do it.
He's in trouble.
The Michigan Series episode number 18. Don't forget to stay tuned for the news segment if you're listening live. If not, the news segment will come out on Monday, November 1st. Nudes?
Yeah, nudes. Or dudes. We're going to send some
I thought you
dudes
said
out.
nudes. I was like, oh, I'm not doing nudes.
Dudes.
Dude, that's not what we agreed to. All right, cool. That's fine.
Right.
I'm good.
No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft.
Better on draft.
Peace.